I think that was a situation where, as much as anything, and I hate to look at it this way, but it feels more so like Shin lost game number 3 at the end than Bunny won it.
Yeah, that's very fair. But anyways, we're into our game 1 of this series. We're going to take maybe a look at a different matchup. In the upper right, in the red, Oliveira.
And his opponent spawning down on the bottom left for Mystery Gaming, it is Bunny.
So yeah, TVZ
now,
didn't look all that great for Bunny. This is a new matchup though. And you know, if we're going to talk about chaos and madness, I feel like the Cyclone play is something that might favor Bunny just a tiny bit, or maybe not favor him against Oliveira certainly, but maybe play more to his strengths. I mean, Bunny has been the player that would proxy Thor rush, stats in a GSL or something. Like he has, he's got that madman in him, just itching to get out occasionally. So when we talk about TVT being maybe in a little bit more flux than we're used to, a little bit more unstable than we're used to seeing, maybe that's something that Bunny's going to be a little bit more happy about.
Yeah. They're both very fast players. I do think Oliveira is a slightly faster player than Bunny, but I think they're both fast players and they're both very good micro players. And that will help players like whoever has better micro and whoever is faster in general tends to do better in the Cyclone v Cyclone war, specifically when it ends up being Cyclone drop versus Cyclone drop. Now, if you know that that's not your strong suit, you're probably not going to favor that as much. You're probably not going to lean into it as much. But I could see a situation where both players do go for that, and they do, try and get a little bit more done with that situation. Time will tell, but I do give a slight edge to Oliveira if that ends up happening, but you never know. Now, we do see something a little bit interesting from Oliveira. He did go for a Reaper reactor, but he did this relatively safely because he went for the SCB scout. So really wanted to make sure that he doesn't get caught out as he goes for, very quick 3 Reaper. This might be a 3 Reaper 2 Hellion play, which would be rather unconventional. Yeah, it is going to be 3 Reaper 2 Hellion. This is not what I was expecting to see in a meta where the Cyclones are so powerful.
This is something that we've been seeing Gun do occasionally as well. You know what? Look, so Cyclones are good, absolutely, but they are glass cannons. They have, in all the changes that they made, they have significantly diminished their HP, to the point where a single Widow Mine goes and knocks things down. So you go 5 Reaper 3 Hellion, 3 Reaper 2 Hellion, something like that. In this case, it's 5 and 3. You go for something like that as this Reaper just barely stays alive. You go for something like that, you can dive on the first Hellion or 2, or the first Cyclone or 2, and it will die. It will get maybe like one of your Reapers, but if you're able to dive on top of that, you're able to catch it at the natural, you can get a ton of damage done. And it's good very much because it is counter meta. Like, your opponent's going to be building a lot of Cyclones, what's going to happen, what's happening there. So you do have that opportunity. Now, whether Oliveira is going to be able to take full advantage of it, I don't know. It's going to be very much execution based. But he does have a follow. Like, he is committing to this. I mean, there's a medevac on the way. And this medevac forward from Bunny is a fake drop, but it's also such a beautiful scout. The Cyclones are going to play on the high ground for right now, looking for the shots. KDA charges down. And this aggression coming out of Oliveira, the first round of it, gets nothing done because the fake drop. Because Bunny wanted to pantomime something that wasn't properly happening.
Yeah, very cute. He sold it as the double Cyclone drop, which is what it looked like it was going to be. Fortunately for Oliveira, he didn't commit super hard. And I mean, you don't have to. You can literally just see like, oh, my opponent's got stuff there and just back away. This is very funny. This is actually just going to be a glorified scout. And that will let Bunny know that my opponent is not committing to Cyclones. It will be siege tanks behind this. So in terms of informational setup, there is an advantage here for Bunny. And he will be able to start going for the Cyclone drop. Actually, Oliveira, he's not going to have that opportunity. He made the medevac. I'm really confused as to what Oliveira's game plan is with this, because making that early medevac and not getting double Cyclone with it feels super strange. Is he going to put a tank in there and try and, like, I don't know, ferry around this location?
I don't know, but it is interesting as we look at these TVTs. I mean, Atlanta was defined by TVT, or defined by the Cyclone and TVT. Now we're seeing a lot of players, it seems like, trying to play around the idea of the Cyclone, looking for ways to abuse the Cyclone meta, as much as we're seeing players just opt into it and building Cyclones. And, you know, I haven't been convinced steadfast. It feels like, regardless of what we see, is we're gonna see what was that. The Raven didn't get much done. What is kind of cool is we look at this is that, well, not kind of cool, but every time we see players try to play around the Cyclones, they try to dive on top of that, but just gonna drop it and run away. Good luck on that one. The Cyclones are still winning. These counter builds are not really countering the Cyclones all that much. They're not doing damage. They're not, I mean, I guess Oliveira didn't take any damage from the Cyclone drop, but you commit to 5 Reapers, 3 Hellions, you want to get something done.
Yeah, 5 Reapers is a lot of gas early on that could have been other things. And normally, if the Cyclone was its old version, we would be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a pretty standard build. It's a little bit more committed. You do want to get something done with it, but it's not a big deal. But going for this and getting as little as he's gotten so far is not ideal. Now, this could catch Bunny very off guard. It's going to be a Cyclone and 4 Reapers, which is going to do a lot of damage to an exposed mineral line. And if Bunny doesn't respond pretty much immediately, this could get some very significant damage done. And in fact, Bunny is not pulling the SCVs rather quickly at all, but Oliveira just backs away. Looks like he was more concerned with keeping this alive. And I guess I don't blame him for that, but it feels like he maybe should have gone for something. Meanwhile, triple Raven gonna try and get some damage done with a heavy auto turret commitment. But that will mean there's no Ravens at home to defend, and there is a big army crossing the map here.
That there is. And these Ravens, by the way, both sides have interference matrix, but again...
Ooh, sensor tower.
Sensor tower. I mean, that's a big deal there. Lets them know that there's an army there, but maybe just a little bit too late. The Ravens are on the other side. They don't have a lot of energy anymore. SCVs are going to have to get pulled on into this, but the tanks are shut down, so it's 12 SCVs down. Oliveira looking for the push right now. There's one tank on the backside, that, like the one thing that's keeping things happy. But I don't... I mean, these Marines are just...
No.
They really should not be aggroing forward like that, unfortunately, for Oliveira. But I think eventually Bunny should be able to handle this. He should be able to respond to this for the most part. The drop in the main base, there are Marines, there are Cyclones there. That's not going to find anything. So at the end of the day, it's 21 dead SCVs. It's 10 dead SCVs for Oliveira. Oliveira, again, I don't know that he's able to push forward too much further forward into this, not with the Ravens and the slow reinforcements coming out of Bunny. So at the end of the day, we're actually going to see a tank of Oliveira. Oh, no, auto turret knight. No! That's 2 dead tanks, but I think they were dead anyways. At the end of the day, Oliveira, he gets some economic damage. He forces Bunny back home. He takes some damage, but certainly gets more, or gives more than he gets. And that was before his upgrades were done. Right now, his upgrades, his 1-1 is going to complete. And combat shields going up eventually. So down upgrades, he finds that damage. He finds that value. And now, at this point, Bunny's going to have to find something of his own, because you played out from here and you're just down 15, 16 workers.
Yeah, and Bunny never started his armory. He had 1-1 so much earlier than his opponent, but now Oliveira has completed it. He got his armory at an appropriate time, at a proper timing, and he's already started at +2 weapons. This has swung heavily in favor of the Chinese Terran player off of a pretty uncomfortable situation. Oh my God, the grenade juggling. Let's go. That was so little in terms of the actual impact, but that was such a pimp play. I don't even care.
Hey, he killed like 1 Marine, okay?
Oh, he got 2. He got 2 Marines.
Okay, you know what? That's twice as effective, Steadfast. That's
literally double.
Literally double.
Literally.
All right. 4th base on the way eventually for Oliveira. He's getting himself set on up for it with the SCV, but Liberator's maybe going to be able to be annoying. The fact that we are 9 minutes in and 3 of the 5 Reapers are still here.
Yeah.
Like, are they useful? Oh, you know what? You know what, Steadfast? You add them with the army. You KD8 charge the tanks into your Marines.
I was going to say, if he juggles tanks with those, that's actually so sick. We are going to see the armory complete in the natural. A lot of Marines going to go down. Bunny will get dragged back home. Oliveira just going to go into the main base. There's no wall, so he can't really delay this. This will get a lot of damage done, but it eventually... Well, actually, he's going to be able to pick up... Oh, siege tank does get taken down. Medevacs are not going to be saved, but so many SCVs go down. That was a lot of SCVs, a lot of lost mining time, but it was also it was a pretty significant amount of army.
Yeah.
This is still so good for Oliveira as long as he just basically doesn't die, I think, in the next little bit.
Well,
yeah, because with 2-2, no, this is very good for Oliveira.
He's fine. I guess the one thing I was tracking was that there were more than 16 Marines in that run by, so it's like, you know what? Regardless of the medevac stay out or not, you're gonna lose some of that army. You just cannot evacuate anyways. Now Oliveira is trying to take the fourth base off of getting a ton of damage to Bunny, which I understand. Went ahead, get more ahead, but this is probably the weakest spot Oliveira is gonna be in. The planetary is not ready. He did lose about 30 Marines from that setup. So
yeah,
this is like the one timing that Bunny's gonna have for the next little bit of time where maybe Oliveira has to be a little bit scared. Well, the upgrade lead does a lot to really keep you safe from that one. He's now just going to dive on top of these tanks. Anti-armor missile on top of every single thing. And this upgrade advantage is just going to sweep Bunny from the map. I mean, maybe, just maybe the Marines die at the end, but everything, Bunny, yeah. Not even all of Oliveira's Marines die. Oliveira annihilates Bunny in this game one.
There was actually a big opportunity, even with the upgrade disadvantage, with those 3 Ravens having as much energy as they did, 1 Raven for Oliveira. If Bunny made the right push, there was an opportunity. But not only did Bunny not make the right push, he got absolutely jumped by Oliveira. Lost 2 tanks right away. That anti-armor missile blanketed the entire army. I don't even know if the Ravens of Bunny even cast any spells. That was just a complete and utter domination in that last fight. And Oliveira looks a lot better than Bunny coming out of game number 1.
That he does. And, you talk about the upgrade advantage, 1-1, whatever. In that last fight, Oliveira had a 4 upgrade advantage with the Raven anti-armor on everything. So
oh yeah, it did. I was you know what, in my head I discounted the 2-2 versus 1-1 advantage because I was like, oh, we're gonna have Oliveira eating the anti-armor missile, so I kind of wrote it off. But if it was actually the other way around, where those anti-armor missiles should not have hit on that army and it should have been an even upgrade. Instead, a 4 upgrade differential. That is devastating.
Yeah, and there was no splits on top of it as well. So one anti-armor missile got all the Marines, 1 got all the tanks. Just pain, misery, not something you want to see. But Steadfast, luckily this is a best of 3. We get an opportunity to do it again and again, and maybe Bunny has a little bit better of an idea in store as we get into game 2. And the bottom right in the red, he's for Dragon Kites of Gaming. He's your reigning world champion and will still be after this event, but he'd like to win it again. It's Oliveira.
And his opponent spawning up at the top left for Mystery Gaming. He is in a bit of a must-win situation here in game number 2. It is Bunny. Even though he's still up 1-0, I feel like Oliveira is one of the players that he would need to beat in order to make it through. Now, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, and I don't want to, I don't want to say that Bunny is going to be eliminated if he loses 2-0 here. But I think at the very least, you're going to want to take a map against Oliveira. If he doesn't, this group gets very difficult for him, and it is already a pretty difficult group. With all that said, Oliveira is going to be going for the 1 Rax Expand. Bunny is not going for the Proxy 2 Rax Reaper. So at least in terms of build order, choice, it's not going to be a direct build order counter where Oliveira could just frankly lose the game straight up. I do like that he has CV scouts, though. He does this safely. It lets him know, I can go low ground command center. I know that you're not doing anything crazy. In theory, there could be a proxy second barracks on the map. Oliveira did not check in and, check the gases, all that jazz. But this is enough information to let him know that it's reasonably safe what he's doing.
Yeah, it's funny, though, Steadfast. We've seen a lot of TVT already, and there will be more in Group A and B as the days go on. But what are we at? This is our 12th map, right, of TVT, I think, that we've done. And, oh, no, this is our 12th opening. Anyway, this is our 7th map. Okay, so 14th total opening.
14th
and we're still
total,
seeing more of these Reaper expands.
Yeah.
But has a single one won?
I don't think so, but it's not the fault of the Reaper expand that they haven't won. Although in some cases it has been. I think at least one game He took a lot of damage. Somebody took a lot of damage when they one racks expanded. Oliveira is doing this more normally, though. He's gone Reaper, he's gone double Marine before adding the Reactor. Oliveira's always been a player who's been very confident in his mechanics. Even during his World Championship run, he never did anything that was like risky, like what we saw Bunny doing with the Ghost movement in that game number 3 versus Shin, where you're like, oh my God, that is insane. You're gonna just lose the game if X situation happens. Oliveira's always been a player that's very confident. But we will see this 2 Reaper Hellion play. Well, it's not actually going to pan out super well.
Nice
This
micro
is going to be
there.
a good defense, I think, from Oliveira.
Yeah, nice micro from both sides, actually. Knocking down the Marines early on, keeping both Reapers alive, and then Oliveira goes and hunts the other ones down. So at the end of the day, it's kind of a washy, but he doesn't get damage done. Although we talked about the Reaper expand and technically not getting build order countered and getting away with it kind of. What I've been seeing here, and granted, it's early days. We're seeing a lot of attempts to play the meta, to counter the Cyclone meta. It doesn't really, what we're seeing is not damage against the Reaper expand in the first 3 minutes on some sort of like proxy Reaper or whatever. We're seeing that damage off the drop afterwards, off the Hellion drop or the Cyclone drop, or getting that more into the mid game because your tech does get slowed down. That being said, this is a weird dropout of Bunny. It's not double Cyclone. It's a Cyclone, a Hellion, and 2 Marines. That is not nearly as... I wouldn't think that's going to be nearly as impactful as a double Cyclone.
Oh, this Reaper is such a nice little spot right there from Oliveira. It might not seem like much, but it gives him just a tiny bit of additional information, a little bit of extra time to see this coming. Oh, and that is going to be a dead medevac. It already used the boost. Nice hot pickup micro from Ollie. Beautiful on the Cyclones, keeping all 3 alive. He loses 2 SCVs, but he cleans up the whole drop. And behind this, he's got the 3rd CC, so he is going to reestablish an economic lead. That was a brilliant defense from Oliveira.
All right, Steadfast, pack it up right here. Oliveira is winning Katowice 2024, continuing his pursuit for defending World Championship in Riyadh later this year. I've seen what I need to see. He's done it. He's won Katowice right now. That was well done there by Oliveira, and not easy to do, by the way. Dodging, because of course Cyclone shots, they don't have a cooldown anymore. You're actively trying to mess with it all over the place. Being able to make that happen and dodge all those shots and keep every single one alive is tremendously impressive. And by the way, as you so adroitly point out, there's a second factor on the way. This is the Cure build, or the Cure style of TVT that we saw him use to beat Maru back in Atlanta. Just mass Cyclone in the mid game, and it's so hard to get a handle on, right? Because you would feel like eventually you transition into something, you get more tanks or whatever, but it's like, no. I'm gonna build more Cyclones. And in fact, Steadfast, listen to this. I might build some more Cyclones.
I'm going to start with Cyclones. And then in the mid game, I'm going to make Cyclones. And then as I transition in towards the late game, you're going to be seeing me making more Cyclones than I made before. I might add in some siege tanks, but that's just a ruse because I'm going to be making Cyclones.
I built 1 siege tank to make you try to counter my tanks, and it's back to Cyclones. It's fine. Now, granted, this is mech versus bio, so it is a little bit more interesting there. But Cyclones...
Ooh, big scan.
It's a massive scan, actually, seeing the triple factory, excuse me. But Cyclones are weird, right? Because you can kind of... we're used to seeing the bio players.
He's going.
Oliveira's going for the break right now.
That
These Marines are going to get shredded. And look at what he's doing. He's just going to play in the outside. He forces a ton of auto turrets. He eats like 1 tank shot, but I don't think a single Cyclone goes down. Just plays on the edge, knocks all the Marines down, and that's going to be fine. Why not? Go Cyclone drop into the main base. Although, there are Vikings there. You do have to be careful of that.
Yes, he does have boost on cooldown. Oh, if Bunny was paying attention, he could have maybe gotten a big jump there. Instead, the Vikings actually get baited in, and he will lose one. Oliveira out multitasking Bunny pretty hard right there. Great scan to secure the kill on the Viking. And that's actually pretty impactful because Bunny got the jump on the Viking lead, but Oliveira is going into his own Vikings wait, did he? Yeah, he built 1 Viking, and he's going to be going into Vikings behind this. So being able to establish that air control with the Viking pickoff is very nice. Oliveira additionally also kept his Raven alive from the push. I really like, by the way, I initially thought he was going to drop an interference matrix on one of the 2 tanks, but instead he soaked fire with the auto turret. I think that was a very clever decision under the gun. Really smart decision making from Oliveira, and I'm loving the way he's playing this out so far.
Now, I am a little bit tiny bit worried about this pressure coming out of Bunny. There is,
it's scary.
course, there's interference matrix done. Stim's going to be done very soon. Combat Shield's 1-1. Like everything that Bunny could possibly want is going to be ready here in the next 15 seconds or so. And this is the timing Bunny's looking for. That we're not... I was going to say maybe we're not at critical mass from Oliveira, but that is a lot of tanks and Cyclones there on the high ground. Ravens in front. Even with interference matrix, it's going to be really hard to go and make something happen, but there's no missile turrets on the right side. No Vikings there either. If Bunny can go kind of position at the front and then get a drop on the natural, that's going to be pretty nice. But Hellions into the third base here. They don't have Blue Flame. They don't have +1, but they're still going to shred all of these light SCVs, knock down them as much as possible. 6 workers go down. It's going to be 7. Dropping the main base, going to try to counter things as Bunny runs right up the gullet here. 3-4 tanks are going to get shut down, and none of them can run away. Auto turrets as well. Bunny tries to break this down, but the shutdown's on the other side. The Cyclones are shredding everything. Steadfast, I heard you like Cyclones. They're doing a pretty good job.
They are doing a pretty good job, but it's that drop in the main base that has killed 20 SCVs. If it wasn't for this drop, this would be very good for Oliveira. But instead, Bunny finds a lot of value with this. These Cyclones do not have their speed upgrade, so they're actually not having as easy a time cleaning this up as you would expect. But they do ultimately get the cleanup. It's a very messy, disjointed fight. I don't know who I favor it for overall, the whole game state. I think it's still... Oh, actually, never mind. This is easy. Oliveira kept his Ravens alive. Bunny did not. No, never mind. I'm very much in favor of Oliveira's position. The main problem for me... literally just as I was about to say it, was no missile turrets. And that's why that drop got into the main. But as we see missile turrets coming up at the natural, I like this a lot more for Oliveira now. And yeah, I think I like this quite a bit for Oliveira.
And key thing as well, from the early aggression from Bunny not getting a lot done, and because Oliveira got Hellions into the third base and everything else that has happened, yeah, 20 SCVs went down, but that just kind of, you do not want to lose this orbital though. You got to lift that, or this command center up. And, there are not a lot of Marines. No, so he may be able to keep this alive. It's only 1-1. Yeah, he should be able to float over and get the repair on this. But the point is that Oliveira Oliveira, you got to repair it, send SCVs on over. But as the Marine goes down to 2 SCVs, a really rather ignominious end. But Oliveira's economy from the damage he got, and everything else he was able to do was in such a good spot that realistically Bunny equalized the economy. Didn't build himself a lead from it. He just equalized what was there. And Oliveira's already retaken the SCV lead once again. He's 69-63. He's really on top of that. As now Oliveira's going to try to take the forward base, which is a little bit more pushable for our bio player.
Yeah, this is actually a really big surround getting set up. Bunny, a little bit scared though, doesn't want to go for it. We do, wait, one of the Ravens died somewhere. I'm not sure where, so Oliveira's only down to 1 Raven now. Oh, that's going to be a big move in on top of this base. He's going to go for the base and he will kill it. Comes at a pretty hefty cost, but he gets the command center. Okay, yeah, that was, I actually don't know if that was worth it for Bunny. It's big getting a base, especially a fresh 4th base, but that was a lot of stuff that he lost. And Oliveira might just go for it on the counterattack, and that's exactly what he's thinking about. Oliveira's not the kind of player that I think of in terms of having like the patience to play mech. Looks like the drop in the main base is going to get cleaned up. Oh, these siege tanks on the flank. Oh god, no, that is not the move for Bunny. Yeah, there's way too many tanks here.
This, I mean, 1 tank goes down on the hot pickup on the bulldogging on top of things, but this is a big army from Oliveira. You talk about not maybe having the patience for mech. Again, modern TVT mech is weird because it's so Cyclone focused. It's not really slow, patient defensive mech. It is a very aggressive option. And this chokehold coming out of Oliveira right now with the, well, you got the Hellbats at the front to tank to be that beef line for the tanks to get their shots down. Now we're going to see tanks get dropped on top of this, but the Cyclones say, no, you don't get to do that one. And at this point, Hellbats are on top of the tanks. This army of Bunny is starting to get down very, very low, very, very small. The 3rd base is going to get broken. The 4th orbital, because let's be greedy here, is also going to get knocked down, or at least forced away. Cyclones knocking down these Vikings. And this position, yeah, Oliveira's only on 3 bases, but Steadfast Bunny, he's soon to be on 2 bases. He's soon out of this game. Oliveira on the rejoinder takes game 2.
playing